W
T L
It's time! W
T L
I think we got a show. Oh yeah, we got a show. W
T L.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Wow. Yes, and I heard there was a little bit of a football game this past Sunday, a televised one.
The big one.
The biggest of all time.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Beat out the moon landing as far as a live broadcast, television broadcast event. Nearly 124 million viewers on CBS, and then about 1.2 million on Univision, over 2 million on Univision, and then just over 1 million on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Start 'em young, right?
Even the kids were watching Slime Time.
Over 1 million little slime timers out there. I did see a couple of cutouts of the Nickelodeon broadcast. That was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
SpongeBob and Patrick going nuts
Commentary.
there.
Yep.
That's
pretty good. No, that's a good way to get them started and everything. But no, it was awesome. You could tell that the NFL, I'm not saying it's rigged or anything, Andy, but these are the two teams that everybody wanted to watch. These are the two teams that had the biggest backing and all with the Taylor Swift drama and all that kind of stuff. These are the two teams that were in the Super Bowl for a good reason.
And I will say Taylor Swift did have a lot to do with it.
She did.
She bumped it. There was a big bump there. It got a lot of female viewers involved there, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Why not? It's an event anyway. It's entertainment. It's always been entertainment.
Yeah.
So what's wrong?
The reason that I'm saying it's crazy that it went over is because a lot of people, that aren't really invested in the football game or whatever, they're there for those commercials, Andy. And I have to say, I did not like the commercials this year. Oh. I didn't think any of them were good. No funny beer ones.
I thought you were a Post Malone guy.
I am, but that's like the only one.
You didn't like the T-Rex at the end there? None of it made sense.
None of it made sense, and no other funny ones except for the ones that they already put out on YouTube. Out. So I didn't like them, but no, it was fun. The game was awesome. So and Usher was pretty good as well.
Usher was pretty good, and Paramount Plus with Patrick Stewart was the best one. But everyone had already seen that. It. So what do you expect? Viewership was up over 7% from last year. Just an unbelievable. What they were able to rake in as far as viewership and what you can attribute to the Swifties and other things. It was just a perfect storm of, as you mentioned, the two powerhouses, the reigning Super Bowl champs in Kansas City.
Yep.
Now they're a dynasty. I don't think you can argue that.
You can't.
It being in Las Vegas.
Really upped it as well.
A lot of live betting in the stadium, broke records there. First time that was really available like that. And you had a team right outside of Vegas in the 49ers.
For sure.
Huge fan base.
And already
right
one
there.
of the biggest brands in football of all time.
Yep. And everyone thought that, okay, maybe San Francisco has a better roster, 53-man roster.
For sure.
Okay. And every metric you looked at, the 49ers deserve to be a 1.5 or a 2-point favorite, which is where they ended up being at kickoff, was at 2 points. It stayed right there. However, the stupid betting public just couldn't get off of Patrick Mahomes.
For sure not.
69% of the money and 62% of all bets wagered were on Kansas City.
Yeah.
And here I got a great quote from Caesars Vice President Craig Mucklow. Said, I knew we were in trouble when Mahomes got the ball last. And
that's what everybody was thinking. That's exactly what everybody was thinking. But it does come to show you how tight these lines are that they put out there and how invested they are in it. Andy, San Francisco was up 3 points in both the end of the fourth quarter in overtime as well. So you can tell that line is probably correct. Right. But do not give Mahomes any time at either end of the fourth quarter or give him the ball in overtime after you've possessed it.
Since 2005, the favorite to win the Super Bowl entering the playoffs and then made the Super Bowl, every time that team has made it to the big game, they have won it every single time. 3 in a row. That was the 2013 Seahawks, 2016 Patriots, and the 2023 Chiefs. It would have been 4 in a row.
Yeah.
But the 49ers just couldn't seal the deal.
Yeah.
we can hash it over a little bit, but I really feel like the inexperience, coaching especially,
for sure,
really showed there in the overtime period.
Yep.
I mean, you just can't sugarcoat it.
You can't sugarcoat it, Andy. It just doesn't make any sense that you'd give Mahomes the ball last. And they won the toss. They could have done opposite of what they did.
Yep.
Made Mahomes go out there and score first, and then give Brock, freelance over, of overtime, but it just didn't make any sense. Yeah. I don't want to stumble across it anymore. It's what everybody's been talking about this whole week. So, it just sucked for the 49ers, but, you're the best for a reason.
And Mahomes was a playoff favorite in 13 straight games, was one shy of a record set by Peyton Manning being a favorite 14 games in a row in the playoffs. Oh, now Mahomes has covered 4 of the 5 times he's been an underdog in the playoffs. And we just talked about that stat a couple of weeks ago where he is 10-1-1 as an underdog.
As a starter,
Make that 11 or 12-1 now.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Everybody was talking about it before the lead up, like, why is he, why is he the underdog? Why is he the underdog? It's because the San Francisco team was that good, and they had the, better players all together, but when it comes down to one or two, and the one or two are, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, it's gonna work out in your favor usually.
That's pretty tough. And the 49ers, it's tough for me to feel bad for them. They were favored in all 17 regular season games. They were also favored in all their playoff games, including the Super Bowl. So you take that in consideration. I think they had a pretty good season.
They had a very good season, Andy. And guess what? Guess who the NFL odds champion is next year?
Let me guess, 49ers?
The San Francisco 49ers at plus 500
right
now. So I don't feel bad for them still.
Never too early.
Yeah.
How about let's go over, we always talk hits and misses.
Yeah.
You put a lot of parlays out there. That was a lot of fun. And I know you came out on the better end if you just put $25 on each one of those parlays or $100 on each parlay, you came out with plus money.
Yeah, for sure, Andy. I posted my Warhorse ones out of the Lincoln Casino Sunday morning. And, I put $100 on these tickets. I hit one of them that was worth $140. So, like you said, I was in the green, but it's a lot of fun just sweating those bets. The one that I did hit was the over on Patrick yards, 239.5. He went way over that.
Yeah.
Patrick over 1.5 touchdowns. Obviously, you got the second one in overtime, so that was obviously a sweat. And then Travis Kelce over 64.5 yards, and everybody knows that Travis smoked that.
Oh, my God. He had a monster of a game.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe his most important play was the final play of the game where he was the decoy. Just drug those defenders into the middle of the field with him, left Hardman wide open in the corner.
One thing about Travis, I was so against everybody else that was watching the game with me, Andy. Everybody's like, he can't push Andy Reid like that. He can't do that. He's losing his cool. I was like, no, this is what you want from your best players, Andy.
Okay.
He is bringing the energy. He is literally telling everybody, I am the man. Give me the ball. Yep. What are you guys doing? Give me the ball.
Well, and on that play, he was saying, I would have made that block, and he would have got the corner.
Exactly.
That's what he was saying.
Just get him in the game. Get him in the play. Get him in the positions. Put it on his back, and they did, and they won.
I know one of your going back to your parlays.
Yeah.
One of them was contingent on that over, and I was hammering the under, I shouldn't have got it. I shouldn't have cashed
it
that
was a
under.
Sweat.
But I got that 47.5 thanks to a kicker from San Francisco missing a PAT.
Yeah, Andy. No, that is crazy, Andy. Like you said, my big ticket one out of Warhorse would have got me 200. I had the McCaffrey over on catches 4.5. He went way over that.
Got it.
And then Travis, I had it again over 6.5 catches there. He smoked that. And then the last one over under 47.5. Where does it land? 47. So, no, you're not going to hit all of them, obviously, when you're playing parlays and stuff, but it is a fun sweat, especially if you don't, bet outside your means.
And I did take a bunch of prop betting sheets to my Super Bowl party. We had a good crowd, good group, a lot of fun. Beer was flowing.
Oh, yeah,
Nebraska Brewing Company. Give them a shout-out a little later here.
Yeah.
But congratulations to a Mr. Tom Kappas.
Woo!
Out of the 20 props on this sheet, he nailed 14 of them.
Wow.
Including MVP winner Patrick Mahomes. He also hit the under.
Lock.
Chiefs winning. Would either team score during the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter? Give me a break. Like, that was really
thumbs up.
I don't think anybody got the Gatorade right. Purple.
No, that was tough.
Whoa, where'd that come from?
It is, it just happened. I saw the two guys going for it, and I was just hoping it was red, but it was not.
One that I was telling everybody hit the over was number of passes attempt. Number of players to make a pass attempt.
Oh yeah, we said it last week on the pod.
2.5.
That's a good one. Friggin' touchdown.
And if you had a player other than Mahomes or Purdy to throw a touchdown pass, that was like crazy plus.
It was crazy plus money, but and that play probably shouldn't have went for a touchdown. But when you get McCaffrey in space, that's what happens.
Oh yes, and how about the first one? I was off to. I thought I was really sweating it. Length of the national anthem.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I thought she was just burning through that, and then she held the last like 2 or 3 notes, like had a pause
really
in between
long
there, and it smacked that over for me.
It did.
I thought, oh no, I'm off on the wrong foot already here. But Reba came through in the clutch for me. I was able to get that over.
Those are the crazy bets, Andy, that I have such a hard time putting money on. It's the coin toss and the national anthem because I don't want to be down so much before the kickoff even starts. So those are a lot of fun to do, and everybody's tuned in early to watch all that stuff. But those are very hard ones, especially if you lose them.
I just think we all threw in $5, maybe $10 per prop sheet.
Yeah.
Just winner take all. So
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was just fun. And then throughout the game, keeping track of them.
No doubt about it, Andy.
Well, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. We've been enjoying a Bavarian wheat beer known as the EOS. The unfiltered EOS is a fresh, sweeter style Hefeweizen thanks to its notes of vanilla and nutmeg. Nebraska Brewing Company, world class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, and I'm joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the Barley Pounder.
You got it.
All right, so we recap, put a bow on the 23-24 football NFL season. Now it's time. March Madness is right around the corner.
Yes.
They're talking about it.
They are talking about it.
I'm seeing all those Ken Palm stats and Joe Lenardi's showing up on ESPN Sports Center now. So I think that's where we need to put some focus on right now. And we got a trio of Saturday ranked matchups. Every single one of these teams is ranked. And we're going to start with a 2 o'clock tip-off on Fox.
Yes.
Big East, prime time, number 4, Marquette, taking on number 1, the Yukon Huskies. Oh, yeah, and it's in Connecticut.
Yeah, Andy, this is friggin' awesome. This is two of the best teams, two conference rivals going against each other. Yep. Not only that, Andy, two of the best point guards in the nation going head-to-head here, Andy. Two of these guys have just been named 6 best point guards of 2023-2024 by Dick Vitale on ESPN. Tyler Kolek from Marquette averages 15, 4, and 7, Andy, with 2 steals. And then Tristan Newton for UConn averages 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. This is just going to be, the best basketball that you can get for your buck right now.
Newton also averages about 7 rebounds a game. He's just ridiculous how good he is. And then you mentioned Kolek there for the Golden Eagles, over 7 assists a game, exactly what you want from a point guard. And oh, by the way, the Huskies also have another guy that averages 15 points. Gets a lot more headlines, Cam Spencer.
Yeah, I was going to say that Tristan doesn't even average the most points, but I think that is what he's talking about here, Andy. And like you said, the reason that he's so good, Andy, is that tall playmaker. He's over 6'5" and can score in a variety of ways. And Tyler on the other side, Kyle Kolek, I think he's a bit too unselfish sometimes. And, I think he can score the ball a lot better.
He is a point guard. He's trying to distribute.
I understand.
And what a weapon to have an elite scorer like that. A number that just kind of jumps out on the when you're looking at the stat sheet and everything else, field goal percentage for the Yukon Huskies. They are 8th in the nation.
It's crazy.
They might not take a lot of shots per game, but when they do, they count.
Yeah, and Andy, both these teams shoot extremely well. I mean, you can just look from the winning streak side of things. UConn winning streak of 13 right now, and you can that is so hard to do in this loaded Big East schedule that they're in the middle of right now. Yeah. And on the other side, Marquette, winning streak of 8 right now. So that is crazy. During conference play, you look at their last 5, both of them have pretty much played the exact same teams, and it's been the exact same outcome both times.
They're both riding a 5-game, 6-game winning streak right now. UConn just taking care of business last night. Trouncing.
Yeah.
89-64. They just took it to old Georgetown. And more can be said for the Golden Eagles. It wasn't as lopsided, but they played a lot better Butler team.
Yeah.
Got the better of them, 78-72. Oh, yeah, and who just smacked? UConn just smacked DePaul last night.
Yeah, DePaul, anybody that plays DePaul, they can just put a W in their win column. 0-13 in conference. So that is the bottom of the barrel for the Big East. But no, I believe UConn will come in here probably about a 3.5-point favorite for at home.
Yeah.
This is going to be really good basketball, Andy. I do believe that UConn is the better team, got the better playmakers, and I do believe they'll cover at home.
Yeah, that was a UConn coming off the road out of Chicago, beating up on DePaul 101-65.
Yeah.
You got to assume they would carry that momentum home to them.
No doubt.
One of the best environments in college basketball there up in Connecticut. And I would have to agree with you. I like UConn too. Love the Golden Eagles and what they've done, their body of work, but I like the home team when it comes to Big East play.
Number 1 in the nation for a reason. They do not want to give up that number 1 spot in the Big East, which Marquette is right behind them 2 games.
All right, let's talk a little Big 12.
Yeah.
Rock Chalk. The number 6th ranked Kansas Jayhawks are heading on over to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the 25th ranked Oklahoma Sooners, who are sitting on an 18-7 record. However, they're sitting 8th in the Big 12. They're having a great season, but it is tight in the old Big 12.
Well, it's crazy. Yeah, we're doing a little prep for this, Andy, and I'm looking down the Big 12 standings. I don't get to Kansas until number 5. So that's pretty crazy to see that. 1.5 games back only. Obviously, it's really top heavy right now. But no, you look at the Sooners and they're having a very good season, like you said, with a great record. And I think you got to feel kind of good about yourself with this Kansas Jayhawks team coming in, losing their last 2 away games to Texas Tech and Kansas State. A couple inferior opponents, I would say, for the Kansas Jayhawks. So I really like Oklahoma's chances here, especially if they're getting plus points if they can cover. I do believe Kansas will still be favored in this game. So if you can get some plus 2.5, plus 3.5 action for Oklahoma, I might jump all over that.
Boomer Sooner. It's going to be McCullough Jr. versus McCollum. Yeah. Javian McCollum, the leading scorer of the Sooners. 2 primetime scores, both averaging over 15 a game. I think McCollum's actually sneaking up on 19.5, 20 points per game.
Yeah.
You're trying to find an edge, look at, different types of metrics, different types of stats. These two teams they mirror one another as far as season stats.
Yeah, you look at the team stats, it's all across the board very good. The only thing I do give Kansas a lot, an advantage on is Hunter Dickinson, the big man in the middle. He will pull down a lot more boards than anybody else on the court. So if he has a big day, Kansas definitely has a chance to. I'm not saying that they don't have a chance to win this game.
Of course,
but if Hunter Dickinson has a big game, look for the Jayhawks to roll.
Case in point, what I was making there, they both average 33 rebounds per game. Free throw percentage, both at 74%. 3-point percentage, both at 34%. Field goal percentage, Kansas has the edge. They shoot 50% from the field, and the Sooners shoot a lowly 47% from the field.
Yeah.
So
no, it's straight across the board. The only thing I'm hesitant on the Jayhawks is they just took a shellacking to Texas Tech.
Yes.
29-point loss on the road to the Red Raiders. So if they're still wallowing a little bit, in their feelings a little bit heading into Norman, this could be a little bit of disaster for the Jayhawks, but they'll probably bounce back. Bill Self doesn't stay down for long.
You talk about the Jayhawks being 5th in the league in Big 12 play. It finally feels like you talk about a big-time ship. It raises the tide for everybody. It kind of feels like Kansas has finally done that in the rest of Big 12. I don't want to say they caught up, but by looking at these stats and where they're at, it kind of looks that way, like everyone's finally risen to the level of Kansas right now.
It really does, Andy. And then bringing in a basketball powerhouse like Houston as well. Another big chaser for everybody.
Ranked third in the nation.
Exactly. It's somebody that Kansas has to be kind of 1-2 with if they want to be able to get one of those number 1 seeds. So it's going to be very hard for them to be that high this year. They're going to have to go on a streak right here and finish the year out very good.
One more season stat to give you an idea of just how close these two teams are to one another. Total points scored: Kansas 1,925. The Sooners 1,917.
Wow, that is almost impossible. But
I was looking at this, I'm like, is this for real?
It's going to be a really good game. Can't wait to watch it. Go Sooners.
All righty, let's move on over to the SEC, where it just matters more.
It does. On the football field? No.
I don't know.
No, on the hardwood.
There we go. 5 o'clock tip-off on ESPN. The 22nd ranked Kentucky Wildcats taking on the Auburn Tigers, who are currently ranked 13th in the nation, riding a 20-5 overall record. They're third in the SEC.
Yeah, Andy. It seems to me that the Auburn ranking is about to shoot up majorly. They just took down number 11 ranked South Carolina by 40 points on Wednesday night. Just demolished them. And if they can get another ranked win at home against these Kentucky Wildcats, they are in the top 10 and thirsting for a huge ranking in March Madness.
And I see all these crazy headlines and everyone's getting all over John Calipari like always. I'm like, oh my God, they must be having a terrible season. No, they're not. They're 17-7.
Yeah, 7-4 in conference.
Like, what are we talking about?
It's just not. It's
they're
just
up and down. They're a little up and down.
They're not 13-0 in conference against the SEC, which in years with Anthony Davis, Julius Randle, although Devin Booker, they
sending
would
7 guys to the league.
Exactly,
That's
they would
ridiculous.
be. This is still a very good basketball team, and this is no way, shape, or form a cakewalk for Auburn. I'm just saying if they can somehow figure out how to win this game, Auburn is going to be propelled into the standings of not only the SEC, of the nation.
Well, don't you think Auburn's going to be the favorite here?
For sure.
At least 3.
It's at least 3 to 5 points, I would say. The thing about Kentucky is they still score a lot of points.
Yes,
That's what they do. That's all that they care about. Almost putting in 90 points a game, Andy. The thing that they lack is their defense allowing 80 points a game.
Hey, we're talking about defense.
Exactly.
Coach. We're talking about defense.
And that's the biggest thing in this game that stands out to me. Auburn only lets people score 67 points a game.
It really is going to be strength on strength. Kentucky's right now 10th ranked in the nation as far as scoring points, already poured in over 2,000 on the season.
Yeah. No, I love this matchup. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I do think Auburn can hold home court advantage here and probably cover if it's that 3.5 to 4 point range.
Well, and I want to go back to that initial point you made.
Yeah.
Where they beat South Carolina by 40 points, 101 to 61 at home Wednesday night. South Carolina is 11 spots ranked higher than Kentucky.
No doubt about it.
They're 11th in the nation, and Kentucky's ranked 22nd. Rankings aren't everything.
They aren't everything.
I get it.
They aren't everything.
But it just shows you what that defense for the Auburn Tigers can do. And, oh, by the way, they scored north of 100 on South Carolina.
They scored a lot of points on Wednesday night. Can they do it against Kentucky? It seems like they're going to be able to. I like Auburn in this one for sure, Andy.
I really do, too, and I think their rebounding might be the difference here.
Yeah.
They got more rebounders. They got more guys that are getting after it, and it comes from that defense.
I just like it. This seems like a team that's going to be there at the end, Andy. Yeah. Maybe a Final Four, Elite Eight kind of team. I really like this team to come out of the SEC number 1. Yeah,
if you're looking at futures right now for a Final Four appearance, Auburn's starting to really climb into those rankings if you're looking ahead of that.
A plus 380 right now.
Ooh-wee. Well,
very good.
You heard the horn. That means we're up against it. So let's take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. You know what that stands for. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
Yes, sir.
And we got to get back to Anaheim, California, to the Honda Center, home of UFC 298. I can't believe it. This is a stacked card.
It's awesome.
Everyone's talking about 299 and 300, rightfully so, but I'm looking at this card. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, Dana is loading them up one after the other. One after the other. This is so good. They have so many fights here, they can't even put them all on the main card, Andy.
And we're going to start buried on the main event card here. But Merab, number 2 contender in the bantamweight, taking on Henry Cejudo, the number 3 contender. Henry Cejudo. The loudmouth little guy
double
that
champ,
beats
double champ.
The only guy to ever have a gold medal in the Olympics and also a belt or 2
in the UFC.
UFC champion. The only guy
crazy.
In the history of the planet, Henry Cejudo, is buried on this card, and he's also an underdog at plus 164.
Yeah, Andy. Henry Cejudo, if he wants to be a champion in the UFC again, like you were just saying, he has to beat Merab at UFC 298. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Olympic gold medalist has lost 2 straight after a 3-year retirement. It would destroy the value he would have to claim with this promotion, far less likely to put him in matchups to lead to title opponents. Unfortunately, Andy, it will be very difficult for him as an underdog for good reason. Merab may not be as gifted as his teammate Aljamain Sterling, who beat Cejudo in May, but his relentless style and endless cardio-driven wrestling is a serious weapon, Andy.
I mean, he's a minus 200 right now, kind of consensus across the books. He has 61 takedowns in the bantamweight, and that is a UFC bantamweight record. No one's even close to that. He's the only fighter to ever land 10 or more takedowns in 4 separate UFC bouts.
Yeah, Andy, and both of these guys are fighters that can go 5 rounds. This is only a 3-round fight, so I expect these guys to come out really, really crazy at the start of this fight because both of them have such good cardio that it's going to be. I think it's going to be a crazy fight, Andy. However, I think Cejudo is I think he's a smarter fighter, elite grappler in his own right.
Of course.
Look for Merab to choreograph a takedown that Triple C sees in advance, lands a fight-ending strike in the final round. I like Henry Cejudo to win this by TKO. Give me the money.
Give me Cejudo. Give me the money. Give me the American. Give me that plus money.
Let me see it.
Well, all right. With that in mind, let's talk about another plus 200 underdog guy from the United States. That's Jeff Neal. Number 8 ranked contender out of the welterweight, taking on the Irishman, Ian Gary, who is currently ranked 10th. He is your minus 250 favorite.
Yeah, Andy. Following a dominant win over Neil Magny in his last fight, Irish prospect Ian Gary is back and gets another big test on Saturday in power puncher Jeff Neal. MMA Math says it should be easy work for Gary since Magny was a win over Neal. However, the American is... he's a very lively underdog here. He's a huge power puncher, hands of steel, is a talented striker who is often underestimated, Andy.
Come on. Gary is 6-0 in the UFC. Lifetime in the MMA, 13-0. He lands 57% of his significant strikes.
He is the prospect.
I mean, my God.
He is the prospect. He has that one-punch power.
Dudes,
this fight could easily end in a shocking finish for the underdog. But, however, Andy, expect Gary to use his size and varied striking style to get the victory. I like him to win by TKO. I'm going to be putting in my parlay at the end of the segment.
All righty. Hey, we're talking about Cejudo and how he needs to get right. Let's talk about another guy, Robert Whittaker, the number 3 contender out of the middleweight, is taking on Paulo Costa out of Brazil, who's ranked 6th in the world. He is the underdog at plus 170. So you do have Robert Whittaker as a little bit of a heavy favorite here. I'm seeing minus 200, 205. And that's probably where he should be.
Another big fight for Robert Whittaker. If he wants to stay among the elites at middleweight, Andy, he really needs this win against Costa in 298. While he is still, quote unquote, in his prime years, Andy, he has a lot of wear and tear on his body for being 33 years old. That's why this fight,
style bender.
I think this is a line in the sand for him in his career, Andy. If he wants to move past this, he has to get this win against Costa. Fortunately for Whittaker, as dangerous as Costa is, this is a good matchup for Whittaker. He is a better technically and has the better fight IQ where he should be able to keep his distance, break the Brazilian down, and even land some takedowns. There will be a scare at one point with a huge shot from Costa, but I like Whitaker to push this guy to the limit and finish him late. I like Whitaker. Give me Whitaker.
Yeah, you better look out for Costa.
12
of his 14 career victories have ended by stoppage. 11 of those were by knockout.
Yeah, no, he is the man. He has heavy hands swinging. But Whitaker, if you think about Whitaker, he fights big people like this, big names. He knows how to protect himself. I think Whitaker gets out of here with the win and moving up the ladder a little bit.
All right, should we talk about the main event?
Let's go!
Here we go. Alexander Volkanovski.
Yes.
Another guy out of Australia. What's with all these Aussies?
Going to Anaheim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anaheim's the place to be, right?
I guess.
I mean, he is your minus 112 favorite taking on Tapura, another man out of Georgia, and he's the number 3rd ranked contender in the featherweight title bout. There is so much going on here.
Yeah.
Both of these guys are at minus money right now.
Yeah, Andy.
There's not a plus money bet you can make on this championship bout.
No, there's not. I mean, if you get into method of winning and all that kind of stuff, obviously you get plus money. But this Tapura character, I don't know if a lot of people know about him. This is a fascinating matchup. Both have risen to the top of the division by being impressively well-rounded fighters, yet there's a big difference between the two for experience.
Sure.
For as good as Tapura is, his resume still isn't at the level of Volk, obviously. But on the flip side, Andy...
He's 14-0.
On the flip side, Andy, the Spaniard is nearly a decade younger and 15 fewer fights on his body. This very much feels like, Andy, what we've seen with other legendary fighters like Volk, where time eventually helps the division catch up.
Right.
Volkanovski has shown signs of being human in recent bouts, and time catches up with every legend, Andy.
Oh, yeah.
El Matador, on the other side, is hungry, confident, and seems on the type of run we expect to end with a belt around his waist. While Volk is, I think he's, he should be the favorite, Andy, but look for Tapura to test the wear on his opponent's chin, and eventually I think he finds a weakness. This TKO, Tapura.
Oh, going TKO.
It has to be.
I mean, we talk about this every so often, how one guy has to cut way more weight than the other guy, and Volk here has to cut a lot more weight than Tapura. Tapura weighed in at 146, Volk at 154.
Yeah.
So I think it was more of a struggle for Volk to get down to that featherweight weigh-in than it was for Tapura. Tapura is also a little younger. He also has a greater leg reach. You're not putting much stock in that. You still like the old boss here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like Tapura. I do, and I like Volk as well. But Volk just tried to go up and, the next level, tried to do Makachev, got kicked in the head. Only time I've seen him ever knocked out. I know he has been before, but he got kicked in the head. I just don't see people recovering from that very well.
Yeah.
I believe he gets TKO'd again, loses the belt. I don't know what's left for Volk to prove, but after this guy, TKOs him, it's going to be tough.
Well, in the featherweight, Volkanovski's still riding an 11-fight winning streak,
no
and
doubt.
that's the longest active streak in the division.
He's the legend.
Yeah,
he's the legend.
Longest there's ever been. So now that he's back at that featherweight, you got to think good things might follow.
I just think that Volk, at this point in his career, I think he thinks that nobody can touch him in this weight class.
Yeah.
I think this Tapura is going to prove him wrong. I think Volk's walking in here saying, I have this division. I can win a fight down here whenever I want, and then I'll jump back up and try and get another belt. He wants to be double champ. He's going to have 0 belts at the end of this fight on Saturday.
Oh, man. All right, Mr. Parlay Pounder. You
Yeah.
got to have a parlay play.
I do, Andy, and I'm going a little more safe on these picks, obviously.
Okay.
These are my parlay plays. And what I like to see here, I'm starting with Robert Whitaker just to win the fight at a minus 250. I believe it's a very good parlay piece. I believe he's going to be able to stop Costa's big shots and get a win there.
Okay.
I'm adding that with Ian Gary to win by KO, TKO, or DQ. That's at a plus 250, so it ramps up that value, Andy,
There it
because I
is.
do believe Ian Gary will get the knockout. My last piece, Andy, I got over 3.5 rounds for Volk and Tapura. I think it gets to the 4th round, maybe even the 5th before a TKO happens. The over 3.5 rounds is at minus 135. I think it's a very good parlay piece. I put all 3 of these together for a plus 752 parlay, putting $25 on it to win $213.
There we go, $213. You got that one big plus money bet in there. It's not out of line. What, you said plus 250?
But plus 250, yeah. Ian Gary, I think he's the best one to put a knockout on this card. I think he's going to do it. He's climbing the ladder. He's going to do it.
And I really like the title bout there. You're going over 3.5 rounds. This is featherweight.
Yeah.
And they're notorious for going
sure.
the distance.
And these guys, I know that they do have a little bit of knockout power and everything, but Volk, by trade, pushes these fights to the end. You can look at all the Holloway fights, all that kind of stuff. They all go the distance.
Right.
I like over 3.5, and I love the value at minus 135 on that bet.
Get that ticket in now, folks.
Let's do it.
There we go. Take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. World class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line, Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
The Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We back.
And we talked a little NCAA basketball. We got to talk about some in-state teams and
let's
local
do it.
Big Ten teams as well, because we got a full Saturday slate.
Yeah.
Ready for the listeners here. And let's start with the 20th ranked Wisconsin Badgers head on over to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes. Hawkeyes just took it on the chin last night, falling to Maryland, a game that they were winning on the road in Maryland at College Park, 78-66. They're going to be back at home here, but Iowa's currently ranked 9th in the Big Ten. They're 14-11.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin's coming to town. This is a tricky one because Wisconsin, they've lost 4 of their last 5 games, but they are coming off a close victory, 62-54 over Ohio State.
Yeah, Andy, that Ohio State team is a team that both Iowa and Wisconsin has beaten recently. The thing that I kind of look at Wisconsin, ever since Nebraska beat them, Andy, in overtime at Nebraska, they lost road games to Michigan, which is at the bottom of the Big Ten.
Yep.
At Michigan, and then at Rutgers, which isn't much better with just 5 conference wins. So, Andy, that kind of gives me a little bit of inclination that they are not playing very well on the road right now. Iowa, on the other hand, has just beat Minnesota at home and Ohio State at home. So it just seems that Big Ten teams are having a very hard time
winning on the road.
It's just not Nebraska, folks. It seems that everybody in the middle of the pack in the Big Ten is having the same problem.
Yeah, for Wisconsin, their biggest problem is scoring points.
Yeah, no doubt.
They have a tough time scoring points, where Iowa, that's not a problem
That's
whatsoever.
what they do.
They've already eclipsed the 2,000 point mark on the season.
Yeah.
And, of course, we got Chucky Hepburn. We always bring him up. He leads the team in assists, which point guards should.
They should.
Nearly 4 a game. But I'll tell you what, Tony Perkins of Iowa leads the team in assists. And
scoring.
Points.
Yeah.
He scores 16 a game while also putting over 4 assists in.
The thing I've found out about Chucky, Andy, I think they play so much better when he is aggressive to the hole.
Yeah,
if he is going and looking for points, I think they are such a better team, and sometimes he just doesn't do that. So I like. If I was getting 5 points here, Andy, or even upwards of 6 to 7, just because Wisconsin still has that ranking by their name, I might hop on the Hawkeyes here to stay with them a little bit. I still believe Wisconsin probably wins this one late. Looks a lot like that Nebraska game, but it turns out for Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Wisconsin to get too many points here, just because of the great point you made earlier, as far as road teams are having trouble in the Big Ten. It's not just Nebraska.
It's not just Nebraska.
And Iowa's done a fine job defending home court.
Yep. If you get too many points with the Hawkeyes, take it. I still do believe the Wisconsin Badgers win the game.
Okay, fine. I agree with you.
There you go.
I agree with you. Our first Big Ten game there. That is a 1:15 tip-off on BTN.
Yeah.
Should we move on over to a game on Fox?
Let's do it.
That's going to be an 11:30 tip-off, and that is your home state, University of Creighton Blue Jays out of Omaha, ranked 17th in the nation.
Yes, sir.
Taking on Butler, heading on out to Butler, where Butler's sitting pretty good too. They're 5th in the Big East with a 16-9 record. Creighton obviously coming off a fantastic game. Baylor Shireman, the former Aurora Husky, put in the first triple-double since 1985 for the Creighton Blue Jays.
Crazy, Andy. No,
that is crazy.
No, Baylor had just been playing out of his mind right now.
Up for a lot of national awards.
Exactly.
Watch list.
I think he should be in the conversation for a lot of those. I think this team has a very good chance of pushing the postseason, playing very, very good basketball, Andy.
Yep.
They just did lose to Butler
4 games ago.
At home.
By one.
Very good game. I expect about the same amount of intensity in this game. It's going to be very, very close. So if we're getting points on the Jays side, I am definitely hopping on that. It probably a 2.5 to 3 point favorite for the Butler Bulldogs at home. I'm jumping all over Creighton if I'm getting points.
If you're getting points with the Blue Jays, you like it. Another common opponent that they've recently played back on February 7th, Creighton lost to Providence, 91-87 on the road. At home, Butler just beat Providence February 10th, 75-72. So it's so close. It's so stacked.
It's so stacked. That Providence game you're talking about with Creighton, that went into overtime in Providence. Creighton had so many chances to win that game. We were watching that game. And like you said, Butler just beat them by 3 at the end of the game. So
at home.
No, these are two very good teams. There's a reason that they're going to be at the top of the Big East when it's all said and done, Andy. But no, give me Creighton if they're getting plus points. Definitely take a look at that money line because Creighton could run them out of the building as well.
That's just the thing. Like you wouldn't be shocked to see Creighton pop off and Trey Alexander pour in 15, 20 points. Kalkbrenner pour in 15, 20. Baylor Shireman does what he does, averaging 18 on the season. If all three of those guys are clicking like that offensively, look out. Butler won't be able to keep up with them just due to the firepower.
Exactly. And everybody's, talking about Creighton this, Creighton that, big offensive guys. The defense is really good. It really is at times. Only allowing 70 points per game. If they can keep this Butler Bulldogs team down a little bit, I do believe Creighton has a very good chance of winning this game. We've already played them. We know what they're doing. I like McDermott to come up with some way to get this win. So give me the Blue Jays, especially if I'm getting points.
For me, it's been really fun to see Creighton kind of turn the corner and turn into a defensive team. They're 29th in the nation as far as rebounds per game goes. And that's just unheard of, or it was, as far as Creighton. And I might have made it sound like I don't believe in the Butler offense. No, I do.
Oh, for sure.
Here's a comparison where Creighton's 24th in the nation scoring, Butler's 30th. So
right there.
You just know that the three-headed monster of Shireman, Alexander, and Kalkbrenner, when those three guys, are popping off, and they ran a nice graphic about them on FS1 a couple games ago. They're basically, when those three guys
undefeated.
When those
it's what it is. If they all three come to play, they are very hard out, and I believe they will be a very hard out come March Madness time. But give me the Jays here. I think they go on the road and get the win.
I like that, and it's wishful thinking too. So there we go.
Hey, I'm a Jay Skur, heart and heart.
There we go. All right. Well, okay. Let's focus on the Skur part of that.
Let's go.
Home game.
Yes.
11 o'clock tip, BTN, Penn State. The Nittany Lions are coming to Lincoln, Nebraska, where Nebraska is 6th in the Big Ten. 17-8 overall record. So many things up and down type of season, but it's pretty black and white. It's home and road.
It's home and road, Andy.
This game is at home.
Yeah, this is awesome, Andy. 2 back-to-back Saturday games for the Huskers in Pinnacle Bank Arena. It was ecstatic in there last Saturday night against Michigan. I was in there. The place was rocking. Tamanaga was just going off, getting the crowd going. It's so much fun when these guys play at home, and I don't believe that they're going to stumble to this team. But you kind of got to look a little bit, Andy. Recently, Penn State has road wins against Indiana in Rutgers, so they can play on the road a little bit, Andy. So you can't take these guys lightly, but I believe that atmosphere in Nebraska at Pinnacle Bank Arena is too much for these people to come in. So I really like Nebraska. They'll probably be about a 5-point favorite here, and I would expect them to go way past that.
Yeah, you went over a lot of things there. First off, last Saturday, that was awesome. I watched the game on TV. You were there sending us, live pictures and videos. That was cool. Barely got by the Wolverines by 20, 79-59 victory. And then last night, Wednesday night, Nittany Lions, Penn State actually lost to Michigan State at home.
Yeah.
So I think the rest factor at home Saturday, it's going to be the Pinnacle Bank. The vault is going to be filled up.
It is.
It's going to be energized. That crowd was awesome for the women's game against Iowa
for sure.
earlier in the week.
We just want something.
Protocol.
We just want something. Yeah, no, that was a hilarious video, by the way. Crazy.
When you get to throw a little shade at the Iowa coaching staff, whether it's women's basketball, men's football, whatever.
We'll take anything at this point. But no, I just really like Nebraska at home here. We still will have to get a road win at some point to get in the tournament. Right now on ESPN, we're still one of the last 4 teams into the tournament. We can really bump that up with a road win here in the next couple of weeks. We got Indiana, we got Rutgers coming up. So I just do believe that Nebraska should take care of business against Penn State, but the next road game is really what we're looking at.
Yeah, they got us the projection that our brother texted us.
Yeah.
He's a Kansas Jayhawk fan.
Huge basketball guy.
Whatever. But he actually has Nebraska getting in as a 10 seed and squaring off in the first round against the 2 seed Kansas in Omaha. How much fun would that be?
That would be crazy, and Kansas does not want that smoke, I'll tell you that.
They do not. And we already talked about a couple segments ago, Kansas has kind of been playing up and down.
Yeah.
You'd get the home crowd in Nebraska. They would not want that at all.
Be a lot of red in there.
And we talk about the bias, and we were talking a little bit heading on over to the studio. That Creighton game earlier this week against Georgetown where they just spanked the Hoyas.
Yep.
Hoyas need to get it turned around here. Only one conference win.
Yep.
But they put a graphic up there showing their Ken Pom stats, and this is why they're good for a 4 seed or higher.
Yeah.
They had Nebraska listed as a quad 1 win.
Yeah.
So how are we making the case for other teams, but Nebraska can't make a case for themselves?
Yeah, it's really tough, Andy, because
what is going on?
You do have huge wins over the likes of Purdue and Wisconsin. Number one at the time,
number 6.
and then number 6 at the time. So, but you still have to get these road wins to promote yourself. Everybody sees the potential in Nebraska, including voters and all that kind of stuff for the NCAA tournament. But you still have to go on the road to win, even if it is Omaha. In the tournament, they would still count that as a road game. So we just got to get these road wins at the end. We got 3 left. We need to get 1 at least. I would say probably 2 to be safe.
Well, the here and now, I really like the idea of Nebraska covering a 4 or 5 point spread. The strength of this team is their rebounding and defense, and it's not a strength of the Nittany Lions. They are ranked 335th rebounds per game, where Nebraska's a respectable 80th. And at home, it's a whole nother animal. It's a different animal. Give me the Huskers at home.
Yeah, especially the way that Alec has been playing for the Huskers. Big time motivator. Get Sam in there, getting rebounds. And then our big guy, Mast, he is going to eat in this one. As long as he stays aggressive. I wish he had Tominaga's aggressiveness.
Right.
Because Mast can take over a game whenever he wants to in the paint. It's just pushing him to do that.
Yeah. You kind of got to pull it out of him almost.
You do.
And he leads the team in assists.
Yeah.
He also leads the team in rebounds.
He is the best player on the team, for sure. It's just kind of got to pull that out of him. But when Casey's hitting, which he's going to be on Saturday night, goodbye, Nittany Lions.
GBR.
Go Big Red.
Well, that'll about do it for us this week. But be sure to follow us over on ESPN, Tri-City Radio, and their Facebook page, and also our Twitter handle and our YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. We love the interaction, and obviously it's grown the channel, and it allows us to grow and get more stuff out there.
For sure. And make sure you check us out on TikTok, WTL Sports Betting. Make sure you just type that in. You'll find us in front of big primetime games like we were just talking about, Nebraska Creighton. We will have the lines out there and telling you which way to lean.
And you are firing them out before the Super Bowl. You got to assume the same is going to happen on this really a super Saturday as far as college basketball.
A lot of sports. Love it.
For Jabron, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Klassen. Thank you for listening. This has been WTL.